Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday live stream. So before we get into it and we talk about all the different happenings that are going on, I have to make some ground rules. First of all, when I start to talk about a bear market, I'm not talking about a bear market that goes 2, 3, or 4 years. And also, when we talk about the different things that are happening, and for us to take a real hard look of what is right in front of our face, we have to do that to be successful investors. So there are going to be some things that you're not going to agree with me on, and there's different things that you're going to do as opposed to what I do, and that is exactly what we should be focusing on, which is there are things that you do, things that I don't do. But again, as far as like talking about bear markets, I'm not referring to like some 3 or 4 year type of thing, but there are some aspects right now that we really need to take a hard look at. So I was taking a look at the comment section from yesterday's live stream. It was pretty good. And I was talking about how the 4 year cycles, this time is different. And somebody in there, I forgot the person's name, he said, he or she said, it really isn't. If you believe that October 6, 2025 was the top of the cycle. And they said that in actuality, this is like 1,065 days perfectly to the point. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, no, that's not right. Because if we take a look at it, and I had to do this last night, was take a look at the days between the all-time highs. So we've only have 3 data points. We've got 2013 to 2017. That's 1,477 days. That was from one peak to the next peak. In between, we had a nice fat, long bear market. And the price went from 1,242 of Bitcoin to 19,665. You all know this, but this is just for the few people that don't. Then from December 15th to December 17th, somewhere around there is depending on which sites you look at. There's 1 in 99 Bitcoins. It gives it at December 17th. Over at Coin Market Cap, it gives it at December 15th. And then over at CoinGecko, it's like December 14th or something. So it's just, I kind of had to average everything out. So around December 15th, you got 19,665. Fast forward to 2021, it took 1,424 days. And it was a big pain because I had to count all this stuff up. And that was the time frame from the top to the top. And the next top from 2021, if you believe October 6, 2025 was the high, was 1,428 days. 4 days. So what happened here? And why am I even talking about this? Because I've been saying for quite some time that Q4, we're going to have some pretty good times. And I still believe that, actually. I still believe that to a point that I still say that Q4, we can have a nice little run up to the end. But what if we don't? And the reason that I'm talking about is because remember in November of 2021 or into December 2021, when everybody was saying the same thing, there's no way that was it. Bull markets don't stop like that. And they gave a lot of different reasons for it. Now, me personally, if you take a look at how quantitative tightening is going to be ending on December 1st, how we're going to get more rate cuts, how we're going to have Jerome Powell step down, how we just had the U.S. government open up, and we're going to get everything ready as far as the ATG and essentially the bank account for the Federal Reserve and the Treasury. Yes, I get all that. I understand that. But we have to take a real hard look and say to ourselves, did this happen? And if it did happen, we should be having a plan for it. Should we not? It's not like we should just go all willy-nilly and just go, whatever happens, happens, which is sometimes not a bad thing to do. But I think we have to take a step back and see what should we actually have. So here, that's a 4-day difference. And I'm taking a look at some different aspects of it. And take a look at this. This is from Ben's website, the bull market support band. And, Bitcoin has drastically dropped out of this as of today. Is it the 15th? Wow, look at that. So the Bitcoin price is 95,000. The 20-week SMA, where we'd like it to be, 113,000. 21-week EMA is 109. But you're like, but Rob, no. Because, there's other ways to do a custom MA. Okay, let's take 20-week and go to the 30-week SMA. Not too bad. Well, let's just go to the 50-week SMA. Okay, it still isn't there. It's still below the 50-week SMA. And then you say, well, just go to the 90-week SMA. Okay, now we're talking. Okay, now it's right in between. And TA people will say, see, perfect, worked like a charm. That's not how it goes. I will just say this. It doesn't matter if you're a TA person or not, but if you take a look at this and just kind of zoom out just a little bit and take a look here, What happened down here? We fell out of the support band. We went down to 76,000. Is that an awful thing? Would you be okay with buying Bitcoin at 76,000 today if you knew that in roughly 3 weeks, it went up to 112,000? No, I think you'd be just fine. And we talked about this November 1st or 2nd. We put this video where I said, this time is different. And around that time, I mean, Bitcoin was 110,000. Ethereum was 4,000. XRP is 250. But today, as we go forward, you know, the fear and greed index, which I got to tell you is a pretty good time frame as far as like when to buy. We are in extreme fear. Matter of fact, we're right here. And if we take a look at what would be considered a bear market, well, this is the definition. And this is, of course, there's many definitions. People say, well, this and this, and sure. SPD has it like this: a condition in which securities or stocks or whatever you're investing into, prices fall 20% or more from the recent highs. What was the recent high on October 6th? Roughly 126,000. Aren't we about 20% down? Yes, we are. And then if we take a look at the other factors, first of all, I like this. The cyclical bear markets last weeks to months. Remember that. Just because we're in the crypto sphere doesn't mean that we have to have a bear market for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, whatever. It can be cyclical, just like we have bull markets. While secular bear markets can extend for years or decades with intermittent rallies, depending. Strategies to profit, short selling, all that good stuff. Where is the part? Here it is. A bear market occurs when financial markets experience a decline of 20%, often marked by falling prices and growing investor pessimism, i.e. fear and greed index down the toilet. This is triggered by factors that weaken investor confidence, such as economic slowdowns, rising inflations, geopolitical tensions. Does any of this sound familiar? So if you want to make the case for a bear market, there it is. And we'll go from there. And Franklin says it right. What makes sense now is to delist this channel. Maybe we should. So, I know giving bad news is tough, but it's a reality situation. So I will tell you, I find it odd that even in this day and age, where I think we're in a bearish market. That's for sure. The sentiment's pretty trashy. Even Atomic Wallet, which I'm pretty sure got hacked yesterday, nobody said a thing. Unless this is what they want to put out. Bitcoin's going to zero. Your meme investments are going to zero. You wasted years of your life listening to a bunch of cartoon larps on Twitter, just buddy boy. Keep coping. It's effing over. Now, I don't know if Atomic Wallet wanted to post that, but I would assume that they got hacked and nobody said a thing about it. And then if you take a look at the macro, this was, I was kind of shocked because we know about the credit card debt is at its all-time high. But now the average price of a new car is over $50,000 for the first time. Isn't that crazy? I remember when anything over $20,000 was expensive car, but here we are. And also, auto loan delinquency rates are at their highest levels in 14 years. Cars will become so expensive, buyers need 10-year loans. This is why retail, I don't think, is here to move the markets, because they got a lot of other problems going on. And if you also take a look at the job market itself, we're sinking fast, which is a problem. And then you're going to see stuff like this. BitFarms, pretty reasonably sized Bitcoin mining operation, is going to stop or wind down Bitcoin mining and pivot to AI after they lost $46 million in Bitcoin mining. But just wait. I know you want to leave, but you can't. The announcement comes alongside the firm's third quarter earnings, in which it posted a net loss of $46 million recently. So the third quarter earnings, right? This was 2025. Compared to a net loss of $24 million in Q3 2024 from its Bitcoin business. Now, what I just told you, you're probably looking at me like, well, it's over, Rob. Thanks. You just destroyed my hopes and dreams for Saturday. Have a nice weekend, jerk. I don't blame you. But you're going to see articles like this, well, for the channels that actually talk about it. And you're going to be like, this is awful. But it's not. Because there's just some companies that are just losers. They just can't do it for whatever reason. Not they're losers, you know, they've been losing, right? Look at Mara. Bitcoin miner Mara, they hit a record high profits in Q3. And they're doing the exact same thing. CEO Fred Thiel said in an earnings call that they were looking to expand its services into AI computing, which is what BitFarms is doing. But they're totally giving up on Bitcoin mining. It's amazing to me. You have one company that totally fails and one company that hits it out of the park doing the exact same thing. That's business, and that's pretty much how it is. So we take a look at all these things, and then we say, well, you know, the United States isn't doing so good, and debt to GDP and all that great stuff, and we're collapsing. You know, it's a good thing that we have the world reserve currency, and we're not the worst. Debt to GDP, this is as of September, 125%. It's pretty high, right? But look at this. Japan, 230%, Singapore, 176%, different countries around the world, Venezuela, of course, 164. And then Greece's debt to GDP was 210% in 2020, China, 96, like I said. And for all these countries that are like, and France, 117%, Canada, 114%, we'll still be just fine for a little while. I think there's a massive recession coming, but I don't think it's coming anytime within the next Q1 or Q2 of 2026. But essentially, it is coming. So don't be too afraid. And speaking of that, which will lead me to my last point, which is this. I know it seems awful right now, right? 196,000, it's awful. And of course, the market's just awful. However, there's a guy that follows, Ricky Ricardo, and he always talks about the fear and greed index when it's a good time to buy and sell. I don't agree with him about selling, but I do agree with him on buying. Check this out. So right now, for the fear and greed index for Bitcoin, if you put it at the most extreme fear, you've got very few points along the way. One was in March 2020 for coronavirus. That was when it was, wow, it was 14 and 12, 11, 8. Extreme fear. When the price was $5,000. Wouldn't you have loved to buy then? I bought then. Should have bought more, but I didn't. Then you have some over here in 2022. Wow, 6, when the Bitcoin price was 19,000. But it hasn't popped up any since. However, the 10 to 20 range, this is the time when it could go either way, but you probably want to buy some. Let's take a look at this. So right here, you got around 18, 19 of April 2020, when the price was 6,000 and goes all the way up to here. And then look at this. I want to zoom in a little bit on this. 20th of February 2025, the price is 84,000. And then in what, 4 or 5 months, we go to 110? Would you be okay with that? And then how about down here? April 2025. It went from 76,000, 82,000, all the way up to 111,000. And now we're seeing it again. Extreme fear, extreme fear, extreme fear at 94 and 95,000. The one thing that you have to watch out for is this. See this right here? 2022. This is the slow bleed drive when we went from blow off top all-time high 67,000 on November 2021, and we hit extreme fears at 50,000. We had extreme fear at 41,000, 35,000, 30,000, 20,000. And you were stuck in this range from essentially, what is this? From 50,000 December 2021 to July. You're looking at 6.5 months or so of you buying and losing, and buying and losing, and buying and losing, and buying and losing. Sounds awful, right? It's not. It's exactly what I did. I bought Bitcoin, and I bought Ethereum, and I bought Solana, and I bought Cardano, and I bought a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't worth squat. And why did I do that? It's because I knew that at some point it would bounce back. And that was the worst bear market that I can remember. Remember, that's when essentially everything collapsed. Voyager, Celsius, FTX, Three Arrows Capital, BlockFi. You had stable coins being depegged. You had the government trying to essentially destroy us, and they didn't. And that was just 6 months. And what's great about this is if you do the same thing, it's up to you. I personally am still buying. I'm actually buying even more today because of those fear pieces. Agreed. As you dollar cost average, your cost basis goes down. So here's an example. This is something from I picked out. You got investor A, investor B, Nick and Carson. One just drops $2,000 at the top, and Karen's like, I don't think that's right, and just dollar cost averages every month, 500, 500, 500, 500. And then over time, the price per share, well, Nick just dumped a whole bunch, and it's only here at 40 bucks. And then Karen had it at 38, because as she buys lower, obviously, it's a lower price. So even if you were using this, and you're like, this sucks, because I bought here at 35,000, and now I bought here at 29,000, and now I bought here at 20,000, I'm in the hole. Well, right now, just 2 years later from July 2022, you would be up massively. But the question is, can you hang on? And that's really where it comes down to. So for me, I look at all these things and things just keep repeating and repeating and repeating. I'm just going to do this. And it's up to you to figure out what you want to do. But I wanted to make this video just to say that the top could be in. And now you have to ask yourself, do I want to sell and get out of this because I'm tired? Or do I want to double down? Or I guess the third option would be to do nothing. It's up to you. So that's it for today. Like today's video, which I highly doubt, you can give a thumbs up and subscribe. But that's it for this one. Now, if you want to go into a little Q&A, answer all your questions, and we'll go from there. What do you got? Let's see. Let me get out of here. Boo. Oh, no. There we go. Hello, everyone. It's not over. Yeah, I still think we could do pretty well in Q4. I still think we can get back to 125, but I thought in November 2021 we could. But there's a lot of different things going on macroeconomic-wise. So remember, let's see if I can. Yeah. The reason why and we talked about this yesterday, I'll talk about it again. The reason why we started to decline in the crypto market is because it is and some people will say that Bitcoin is a risk-off asset. The majority of people in the world see it as a risk-on asset. That's just how it is. Only the really smart ones get it as risk-off. But when you have total assets on the Federal Reserve balance sheet and they start to offload those, meaning they're selling off, that's a problem. And that's what happened essentially in 2022, and that's why we went down. And then on top of that, we were raising rates in 2022. We went from essentially 0 interest rates all the way up to 5.25. So, I mean, you have the Fed raising rates, you have them offloading their balance sheet, selling off stuff, not putting it on, and that's what happened. Now, it's a little bit different. As of December 1st, they're going to start adding. So that we're, and of course, they keep cutting rates, but we'll see. I know everybody talks about M2 money supply. That hasn't panned out yet. Hello, Mohammed. Double Rouser says, next cycle, I want to use agent to pump and dump. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody else does it. Thanks, DBF, for the $10 super sticker. I appreciate it. I think you guys don't give me any money. Take that money and buy some Bitcoin with it or whatever. But I appreciate it, though. I like money. Money's good. Means I can use it in my Cash app. Start buying Bitcoin. Oh, thanks to the like 50 or 60 people that signed up for Cash App today. I appreciate it. I'm not enough profit, so I buy more. Sounds good. Our Dog Thrive is here. Nameem is here. Santa Raleigh is coming. I'll take it. That's usually like 5 days after between like Christmas and then 5 days plus, and then a couple of days into January. That's what they say. We'll see. And Joe says, what about the liquidity cycle? Joe's right. There's a lot of liquidity being pumped into the market. For some reason, it just hasn't found its way here. I find it very odd because we have over $1 quadrillion. That's a real number. I had to look that up. There's $1 quadrillion just sloshing around. A lot of it's in real estate, $325 trillion. Stock market is somewhere around 70 to 85 trillion. Debt, I mean, hundreds of trillions of dollars. But yet, somehow, some way, we had like $4 trillion going to gold for some reason. Who'd have thunk it? I know Peter Schiff is happy. Let's see. Master says, are you investing in any AI? Just NVIDIA. I don't really get in too deep into the weeds with AI. I know it's going to be the great thing. I know it's going to be the next thing. I mean, look, we just talked about a Bitcoin mining operation that essentially shut down, and they're going to go all into AI. But I think I'm hoping NVIDIA will be the big play. Then what's it? Palantir? Probably another good one to get into. It just happened. Rob just said we are really smart. I guarantee most everyone is much smarter than me here in the comment section. I can almost guarantee it. Ron's starting from the beginning. All right. Thank you. Don't give up hope. Will pump as soon as Bitcoin becomes president in 2028. Hope that guy makes it. Pedro said, so why institutions are buying? Well, I mean, some institutions, I mean, we've seen some sovereign wealth funds. We've seen hedge funds. The IBIT ETF seems to be bought up by some institutions, and people say, no, that's not true. Yeah, it is true. I mean, there's a bigger percentage of retail because it's retail advisors and institutions. I did a whole video on this thing. And but the thing is you have to look at is, especially the outflows. There was I want to say it was over, gosh, what was it? We just did this yesterday. $880 billion? Is that, no, it can't be right. 880 billion, Jesus. Let's see. ETF. The question that I have, that's got to be Ethereum, yeah. Yeah, so excuse me. It was 866 million. Oh, I didn't see this. Just yesterday, we had almost another 500 million outflow from the ETF that is IBIT. I got to tell you, 500 million, 800, I mean, do some quick math here. What is that, like 1.4 roughly billion dollars? And the price didn't go down too much. That's pretty good. That's a lot. And of course, the question I have is because ETFs are made up of institutions, advisors, and retail, what is the percentage that is being dumped by the hedge funds and the institutions and all that stuff? That'd be the question. Not sure. That's quite a bit. Let's see if it keeps happening. Let's see. Rabble Rouser. I started getting into stocks the first times on a painful experience to crypto. It took me an entire week just to buy a few shares. I think I'll stick mostly to Bitcoin. You know, options are not a bad way to go. Just saying. Got a friend who does that. Loves it. Waiting for Ben to say we're an official of the bear market? Sure. Rob comes on and talks to us almost every day. Thanks, Plato. Diamond D says, everybody is mentally draining from this Ponzi. October 10th sucked all the confidence out of the market. Well, there's a point to that. October 10th, liquidity crisis. Well, it was more like a leverage crisis, I'm sorry. And that was because of, as great as some people think that CZ is and Binance, they make mistakes. That was a big mistake. They essentially were allowing all these different exchanges to use their price feeds to state what gets liquidated and what doesn't. And unfortunately, a lot of things went haywire and wrong, and a lot of people got liquidated for no reason. And I think some people got paid back, but a lot of people did not. So if I'm an investor, and I personally don't do that, but if you're an investor and you're like, hey, I had my entire life savings. I did, I was on 10x, 20x, 50x leverage. Now it's all gone because of some screw up on your end. Like, well, really sorry. Here's a voucher for you to gamble some more. Why would you be back? I'd be like, you know what? I'm out of here. And for that one, Diamond D is correct. Sad. Sad. A $250 slosh run. That's almost Elon's Tesla pay packet. I don't understand why people sort of bent out of shape about that. Guy's going to get $1 trillion. But I think it's, if he like 4X's the entire company, it's a hell of a thing to do. And what's $1 trillion among friends, really? Bombardier says, Zcash, the new Bitcoin, even the Winklevoss twins bought 59 million. Yeah, a lot of people bought a lot of it. That's why I'm not going to buy it. So, but Bombardier, Bamid Bar, sorry. It might work. I mean, probably going to work out for you, especially if you bought it early. Zcash is one of those that really going big. It is a proof of work, I believe, correct? And it is essentially what people are saying. It's what Bitcoin could be for privacy. Have fun. I'm not going to touch it. It's like everything else right now. It's like, I don't want to follow some narrative down that path. Like, you know, think of all the narratives that you followed along on crypto. Remember the narrative of meme coins? Not so great, right? Remember the narrative of NFTs and how that was going to be the future? That didn't work out. Remember how Metaverse was going to be the next most fantastical thing of all time? That didn't help. And then, of course, every narrative that you can possibly think of that you chase, retail is feeling that pain right now with gold. You know, they were standing out in line for hours or however long it took. They bought the gold, and then it goes down like 8%. Good luck filling in that spread, because in some places it's 3% to buy, 3% to sell. So you got to be up at least 6%, and you're down 8%. So have fun with that 14% leeway. Sorry. But yeah, all the narratives, I'm not going to chase. I've done my research. Hopefully was correct. I think things are going to do just fine. Just going to stick around. Yeah, tacos and beer. Are you glad it's over, Rob? No, man, it's like that scene in The Godfather. You know, I tried. I want to get out. They keep pulling me back in. See, you'll never get out. It's just like with everything, like with real estate, right? You buy a property, and then you renovate. You do either short-term or long-term, or you flip. I never was a big flipper. And then you're like, okay, that's the last one. And then all of a sudden, some deal comes by. You're like, there's a nice 10-unit apartment complex. Maybe I should look into that. Before you know it, you buy another one. And it's the same thing with crypto. You're like, good thing I bought, or good thing I sold at, you know, whatever you sell at 126. But then when you see it going down to, like, let's say it goes down to like 80,000, 70,000, wouldn't you be tempted again to be like, yeah, I think it's time to buy some more. That's it. So force that. You're never out. You're never out of this game. You can take breaks, but you'll never get out. Gareth says, maybe we get another double top of the line. Yeah, maybe. I mean, this is the thing that does concern me too. Let me show you. What the heck is that? That looks familiar, right? So here, we have the double top. April 15, 2021 went to 63,000, crashed 50% in like 2 months to 29,000. And then August, September, October, November. 4 months later, yeah, baby, you're up. You just doubled your money. Congratulations. Now take a look at this. Actually, it's not here. A little bit tighter range. So we rallied in June to August. And it's a little, this doesn't really make sense. I take that back. You have to go back all the way here. We went to 103,000 in January and then dropped to 78,000. So this would be like the top, like the April, right? And then we got another top over here. Let me back this up. Nah, it still doesn't look right. It's different. See, this is the problem. Spending too much time in charts makes you crazy. But I mean, it is kind of a double top. I'm just saying, if that's what it is. Okay. Rusty bot is here. Another run of the 50-day is highly likely. And it's a cycling over. I don't know. And then Vegas, and this is another thing, is maybe this is true. Maybe there's just no more cycles. Like we talked about this in that November 1st video, where we took a look at gold ETF in 2004 and how it had a nice run of like 7-8 years of just essentially new highs and new highs and new highs. And then we take a look at 2024 Bitcoin, just 20 years later, and we have new highs and new highs and new highs. Month to month is a little bit different, but yeah, it could be. It could be. Limit orders are in. Very nice. You know, I've been really happy with this Cash App. I did this whole video about it. It's about 5 minutes long, but I had no idea. And before anybody asks, no, they don't pay me anything. But if you do sign up, we get $5 together. So just remember that. And there's no fees and there's no spreads if you set it up for like recurring buys. However, if you do put limit orders in, there is a fee. I think it's like, I want to say it's like $2. It depends on how much what your total order is. So I think that's how they make their money, limit orders. But hey, every dollar cost averaging, pretty easy. And Ozzy says, why do you think it's the bear market? I think you seemed bullish days ago. See, this is the problem with, like, first of all, Ozzy, I'm going to ask you a question. Did you watch the whole video or are you coming in late? Because I think when people see that, and this is the problem with YouTube or anything, is that when a couple of days ago, actually yesterday, I was saying that, hey, you know, I still think we have room to run in Q4. And I said the exact same thing today. Hey, I think we still have room to run in Q4. However, because of these data points, we should be making a plan about what we need to do, right? So this is the problem. And then I got to explain this. I mean, that's my job. So I guess. Ozzy, does that make sense? Yeah, got him late. So that's the thing. So in the comment section, I probably should put at the very, very top. That's why I started the video by saying, like, look, when I'm talking about a bear market, I'm not talking about a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year bear market. I'm talking about a localized bear, which could go on for weeks or maybe some months, but the sentiment is this. This is what I see. Here's the definition of a bear market. And then we kind of went from there. And then, of course, for now, I still think we can do pretty well in Q4 2025. I still say we could rally above, maybe even hit a 150K Bitcoin. It's anybody's guess. Just depends on the macro. But if we don't, which there's increasingly data that takes a look at it and says we might not do that, then we have to make a plan extending ourselves into Q1, Q2, Q3. One of those is if there isn't, because of Jerome Powell comes out and says, you know what, no rate cuts in December, sorry. Quantitative tightening ends, but quantitative easing doesn't begin until Q3 of 2026. And then, of course, we have more job layoffs. Then we start talking about recessions. And then we have some of these like DATs, these digital asset treasuries are like, oh, guess what? I'm going to sell the crypto that I bought on there. And I just couldn't take it like I told you what they would actually do. And they start selling off their crypto and or their Bitcoin, which has already happened on some of those digital asset treasuries. And if you keep having more of those and downward things, then you start to say, damn it, I wish I would have had a plan in place. And that's why I talked about that today. Oh, there's a lot. Catalyst for growth. Yes. I don't know what that is. Let's see. I think the tariff checks are now tax deductions. Yeah, that $2,000 I don't think is going to come individually to people. I think Scott Bessent made that pretty clear. He's just like, yeah, that $2,000 that Trump was talking about, that could be in some kind of tax incentives, not stimmy checks. Come on. Would have been nice, though. Would have been nice. Ozzy says, planning for the worst. For me, it just seems weird with Solana ETH. If the cycles are, I mean, who will invest in the crypto and Bitcoin moving forward? You know, we were talking about this yesterday. I'll show you, Ozzy. That's a great point. So, actually, I didn't talk about this. Did you know that the value of stable coins is now equivalent to about 11% of all US cash in circulation? Let that sink in. 11% of all US cash in circulation is backed up essentially by stable coins. Or excuse me, it's the other way. Stable coins are backed up by 11% of all US cash, which is right now the amount of US currency in circulation is around 2.4 trillion, give or take a couple billion. The stablecoin market cap for all of them is $310 billion, and it's only growing. And this is one of the things that the Trump administration, I believe, is trying to do, is that's why they're so happy about stablecoins, because they want them to buy up the treasuries and, of course, hold that in for to back up their stablecoins. And again, what are the big four for stablecoins? Actually, I don't really care so much. It's actually the top two. It's Tether and USDC. But the big four that the stablecoin rails are built on are the best tokens, which are BEST, which are Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, Solana, and Tron. Don't believe me? And here's where I hear everybody rolling their eyes. I hear you rolling your eyes because I talk about this all the time. This is from Visa. And it'll tell you, because they track this stuff, because they don't want have their lunch eaten, which that's going to happen. USDT and USDC are 93% of all stablecoin markets. And you're going to see here are the top ones. Tron, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Solana. That's all you need to know. So if I was going to invest into stables, which I do, I would buy those, because that little piece here, digital dollars and stable coins, it's only going to grow. And not only that, the Cash App, which is Jack Dorsey's company on top of Square. Actually, now it's called Block. That Cash App that's available here in the States, they put on so you can actually move fiat currency or fiat around dollars and Bitcoin. And the next one is going to be stable coins on the Solana rails. Isn't that interesting? How Jack Dorsey, huge Bitcoin proponent, is going with Solana stablecoin. Now, he might do the other ones, Ethereum and Arbitrum and all the rest of this stuff. Maybe Tron, doubtful. But I thought it was interesting that he would go that route. Pretty cool. Okay. Lou's last name. Late to the stream. Okay, here's issue number 1. Still at the beginning of it, you KOLs are weird or paid. Doesn't pass the smell test. Hey, everyone, everything is fine. Stay in the market. Don't sell. Yeah, no bueno, Padre. First of all, that's not what I said. You are late and you're just making assumptions. And you're striking out because you probably didn't play the market well enough. Maybe you didn't sell right. Or maybe you don't like the fact that what I'm telling you is the truth. And the truth was that, hey, I still think we're going to have another Q. See, I keep saying the same thing. And it's because people come in late and I got to explain. It's a pain in the ass. I said Q4 could still be a pretty good thing. However, if it is not like we just talked about, which I don't know, you must be super late to this party. If it doesn't, you need to make a plan. And that plan should include or could include you selling everything and getting out and never coming back to my channel again, which is actually a good thing. You should leave because I am a paid KOL, which actually that's true. YouTube does pay me for these. So I guess you do have a point. But You can either sell and get out and never come back, fine. Or like we just took a look at the fear and greed index. Usually there's like a 6 months leeway in between either to where we recover or we go all the way down. But if as you keep buying, your cost basis goes down, it actually works out pretty well. If you don't believe that things will recover in a certain amount of time, then you should get out now. I hope that wasn't too rough on you. Yeah, Ron, I did actually arrive late, so I'm sorry if this was already discussed. WTF is a KOL. The KOL is what they call a key opinion leader, which I have to tell you, that's pretty much a stretch for anybody on YouTube. Rob is drinking whiskey. No. I gave up most drinking for quite some time. I have the occasional wine and beer every so often. This is a good time to buy Solana. I mean, looking at the wristbands, I would think it is. So let's see. And here we are. Wow. Not really. 0.5 for risk. So it's still a little bit risky to buy Solana. However, Bitcoin is even less risky at 0.4. Actually, I've been doubling up on what I buy. And that's it. So I would just buy Bitcoin personally. That's all I've been buying lately. And of course, then we read the rules. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. It's all gone. 100% scams. Everything's a scam until proven otherwise. Don't leave things on exchanges. Use something like a TANGEM or a ledger or something like that. Take them off. Don't use leverage. And of course, take profits along the way. I've had these rules up for since 2022. And some people read them and some people don't. That's okay. Oh, wow. Gotta watch the beginning just walking in. Fed emergency meeting today. Really? On a Saturday? Rob will dump on you. That part is true. Rob will not be in charge of customer service at McDonald's. Yeah. I could do it. I mean, if the market keeps going down, I got to get a job anyhow. So let's see. Oh, wow. Really drinking risky. Well, it's Saturday. You should be. Must be protected at all costs. Yeah. Mitch has a good point. General retail isn't in because liquidity levels have kept them out. When liquidity rolls in, general retail will come in. Then we can start talking about the market turning. I think if we have the general liquidity has to flow into businesses as well. People need to have jobs. Job markets are going down. Rates are up. They're waiting for cuts. If we can get more cuts, businesses can take more loans. They can get funds out. They can expand their businesses, hire more people. Hopefully. And hopefully they hire people and not just roll it into some kind of new AI customer service agent, which I guess that would be a pretty good job for McDonald's. McDonald's customer service through AI. Keep it rolls to the top. Oh, yeah, the CME gap. Mark also has another good point. If it's a 92 gap, then expect Bitcoin to go down to 92,000. That'd be awesome. Think Tank, is it a good time to buy SWE or sell SWE? I don't know. I think obviously the time to sell SWE was quite some time ago. But. Right now, wow. I take that back. SWE might be a good time to buy. Look at this price. The risk level is 0.1. But again, anything outside of Bitcoin is a little more risky. It goes, treasuries is probably the safest thing, but you can't even do that and keep up with inflation. So it's kind of a wash. And then you have traditional equities, indices, S&P 500, stuff like that. And then we get into commodities, real estate. And you get stuff like this. Bitcoin and then into SWI, 0.1. Wow. Anyhow, those are the risk levels. That's crazy. Interesting. And then Crunk says, when the 2K stimmy checks hit, some will definitely go into crypto. New casinos still opening in California and people blocking them. Yeah, I think if people want to gamble, I mean, crypto is one way to do it. I mean, for altcoins and stuff. Sorry. But I think once everything opens up on Poly Market for the United States, that's when it's going to take off. I think people are going to roll a lot of funds into Poly Market. And one thing about Poly Market is, what do they accept? Polygon or USDC or US or Tether on the Poly network. I think they incorporated Solana. I can't remember. Correct me in the comments section. But Polygon just signed massive deals with Google, with Yahoo Finance, and also with the UFC. And also, they signed a deal with Salshi. What are that other one's called? Salshi? They signed a deal together. So predictive markets, I think, are going to be the next big wave of things to come. And again, it's a killer use case that I didn't see. I thought it was going to be payments. And here we are with predictive markets, and Polygon's going to take it away. And did you know that the CEO and founder, I forgot his name, but he was raided roughly 2 weeks? Yeah, about a week and a half after the presidential election. It's a funny thing. When you call a presidential election, you call it correctly, and all of a sudden you get raided. Just saying. Let's see. What's the key risk for ETH? It's about the same. About 0.5. LFG. What else is there besides Bitcoin? There's a plethora of different things that you can get into. Let's see. Did Ben manage to travel to Amsterdam? Yeah. I saw the images he posted. Looks like he was there, had a little speaking engagement, saw some old friends. Good times. Oh, wow. The Fed emergency meeting is legit. Well, hope they do something. Hope they start cutting rates like crazy. Pew Pew says, Rob, you still a validator on Avalanche? I am not. We did that for a year, and that was it for us. Ben was on for half an hour. Jack Daniels is my friend till the end. That's funny. Didn't see Ben on Friday. Yeah, we skipped the NFA live show. Ben's videos were pre-recorded from last week. My Forbes interview was postponed again for a few more years. I think, I just don't. We'd never had like that blow off top, massive, huge surge like we did. We doubled price like we just took a look at in 3 or 4 months from the low of May to November in 2021. So since we didn't have like a blow off top, I don't think we're going to have a massive, reduction. And again, if we play the cards just like how the gold ETF did into the Bitcoin ETF, we got years to keep going. Charlie says, how did you guys miss the Fed emergency meeting today? Didn't hear anything about it. Let's see. App full in my Samura box, McDonald's robotics. Yeah, $1.29. SWI is legit. Yeah. Love to gamble. What else did I miss? Think Tank says, hey, Rob, could you share your honest opinion on World Mobile? The token, not the nodes. I mean, the token, I don't know. They have all this circulating supply out or total supply? Let's see. It's a funny thing. It seems like the more utility that a project has, the worse it does. I don't know how to explain that. So let's see. Over the max lifetime, you went from 50 cents to when it started, peaked at 88 cents, and now we're at 10 cents. All I can say is that I use their service on my cell phone right here, and the service is great. Now, as far as like earning in tokens, I do that. But the token itself, circulating supply is 707 million. Total supply is 2 billion. That's probably because of staking rewards and things like that. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's ranked 525. Let's see how it works out. I don't know. I like the service. I still have the token because I haven't had a reason to get rid of them yet. I'm already drunk as Rob heavily pixelated. I am heavily pixelated. I don't know what it is with this internet service here. It's like I can see myself just perfectly and you guys can't. Hold on, let me see something. Hang with me. I'm going to troubleshoot this. Oh, that's why. Looks like my service is throttled down. All right, time to leave anyhow. It's almost been an hour. So anyhow, everybody, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe. Tomorrow, we'll be doing the Sunday show with Jerry from Costa Rica. Maybe you can have some good insights and give us some more positivity, which I'm failing at giving lately. But I'll see you guys tomorrow for that piece. Anyhow, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys on the next one.